हाय फ्रेंड्स, होप यू आर डूइंग वेल। आज हम इस वीडियो में बात करेंगे डायरेक्ट टैक्स विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम 2024 के बारे में। जैसे कि आपको पता है, ये स्कीम ड्यूरिंग द बजट 2024 अनाउंस हुई थी और 1 अक्टूबर को इसको एनेक्ट किया गया है। नाउ सीबीडीटी हैज़ कम अप विथ अ सर्कुलर प्रोवाइडिंग मोर क्लैरिटी एंड गाइडेंस ऑन द स्कीम। सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड विद दिस वीडियो। देखते हैं हम। ये सर्कुलर है 15 अक्टूबर 2024 का। Guidance Note number 1, 2024 on the provisions of the DTBSB. We'll skip the first para, which is introductory para. The commencement of the date of the said scheme has already been notified as of 1st October 2024. Further, the rules and forms for enabling the scheme have also been notified on the 29th of 24. After enactment of the DTBSB scheme, several queries were received from the stakeholders seeking guidance in respect of the various provisions contained therein. Accordingly, under Section 97 of the DTBSB scheme, which empowers the board to issue directions or instruction in public interest following the guidance note in form of answers to frequently asked questions, that is FAQs. This will be helpful for the taxpayers for the creating better awareness and understanding with respect to the provision of the scheme. So first issue, which appeals are covered under the DTBSB. आंसर क्या है उसका? सीबीडीटी ने दिया है कि कौन सा केस डीटीबीएसपी के लिए एलिजिबल है, कौन सी अपील्स एलिजिबल है। So please refer to the section 89 of the DTBSB scheme, which provides a definition of the applicant, which is a person in whose case an appeal or writ petition or a special leave petition SLP has been filed either by him or by the income tax authority or by both before an appellate forum, and such appeal or petition is pending as on specified date 22nd July 2024, that is budget date, or a person who has filed his objections before DRP and the DRP has not issued any direction on or before 22nd of July 2024, or a person in whose case DRP has issued in direction under section 144C and EO has not completed the assessment. That is, this case falls under the category of transfer pricing. Last category, a person who has filed an application for the revision under section 264 and application is pending as on 22nd of July. So these are the 4 categories eligible for the scheme. Now we'll see who are not eligible. Which cases are not covered under scheme? So relating to an assessment year in respect of which assessment has been made under these sections on the basis of search initiated, यानी किसी के केस में सर्च इनिशिएट हुई है और उसके बाद किसी का असेसमेंट हुआ है अंडर ऑफ दिस सेक्शंस, तो वो करदाता एलिजिबल नहीं है। Then next है relating to an assessment year in respect of which prosecution has been instituted on or before date of filing of declaration. TDS या किसी केस में प्रोसिक्यूशन इनिशिएट हुआ है तो वो करदाता भी एलिजिबल नहीं है। Relating to any undisclosed income from a source located outside India or undisclosed assets located outside India, those are also not eligible. And fourth है relating to an assessment or reassessment made on the basis of information received under an agreement referred in section 90 और 90A, यानी आउट ऑफ इंडिया से अगर किसी और कंट्री से की टैक्स अथॉरिटी से आपको टैक्स इवेजन की इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है और आपका केस पेंडिंग है तो वो करदाता भी एलिजिबल नहीं है। एंड दिस आर सर्टन cases where provision of these sections may apply, such cases are also not covered. Then rates. Kindly provide the amount of payable on tax arrears as per the scheme. We'll see the rates. So these are the rates which taxpayer is required to pay to settle the dispute, and I think rates are very clear. Amount to be paid on or before 31st of December 2024 and after 1st of January 2025 and before the last date. Tax arrear include disputed tax, interest and penalty for the new appellant, 100% of the disputed tax, and after 1st of January 2025, 110% for the old appellant, 1110 and 120 tax areas related to disputed interest penalty fee. New appellant 25% of the disputed interest penalty, and after 30 percentage. Tax arrears related to disputed interest penalty for the old appellant 30 percentage, and after 1st of January it's 35 percentage. Where an appeal writ petition SLP is filed by the income tax authority on any disputed issue, the amount payable shall be 50% of the amount specified in the table above. Where an appeal is filed by the appellant before the Commissioner of Appeal JC, or objections are filed before the DRP or an issue on which he has already got a decision in his favor from the ITIT, where the decision on such issue is not reversed by the High Court or Supreme Court, or the High Court, where the decision on such issue is not reversed by the Supreme Court, the amount payable shall be 50% of the amount specified in the table above. Where an appeal is filed by the appellant on any issue before ITAT on which he has already got a decision in his favor from the High Court, the amount payable shall be 50% of the amount payable in table above. Now what are the forms? Forms are quite simple. जो विवाद से विश्वास 20 में थे वही फॉर्म है. Form 1 is filing for the declaration and undertaking. Form 2, form for the certificate to be issued by the designated authority. After filing Form 1, Form 2 will be issued by the tax authority. Then afterwards जो इंटीमेशन पेमेंट करेंगे उसका इंटीमेशन करते हुए डिक्लेरेंट को Form 3 पे करना है. Form for the intimation of payment by the declarant, and form for final order tax arrears by the designated authority. The scheme also provides that Form 1 shall be filed separately for each dispute, provided that where the appellant and income tax authority both have filed an appeal in respect of the same order, single Form 1 shall be filed in such a case. अगर अलग अलग dispute है तो separate form file करने होंगे आपको. The intimation of payment is to be made in Form 3 and is to be furnished to the designated authority along with the proof of withdrawal of the appeal, objection, application, writ petition, SLP or claim. Now what are the various time limits specified? Various time limits specified in the scheme are as follows. Declaration and undertaking shall be filed by the taxpayer in Form 1 on or before 31st of December 24 to keep the amount payable on lower threshold. In case of the filing of declaration and undertaking beyond 31st 24, the amount payable will be increased as specified rates in Table 1. The DA shall issue Form 2 within a period of 15 days from the date of receipt of the declaration to determine the amount payable by the taxpayer. Obviously, the taxpayer shall pay the amount as determined in Form 2 within period of 15 days from the date of receipt of the certificate and shall be intimated the details of such payment in Form 3. So suppose आपने 15 अक्टूबर को फॉर्म फाइल किया तो उसके 15 डेज में आपको टैक्स अथॉरिटी इंटीमेट करेगी आपको कितना पेमेंट करना है, और उसके 15 डेज में यानी आपने अभी डिक्लेयर किया उसके विद इन 1 मंथ में आपको वो पेमेंट करना होगा. Upon receipt of Form 3, the DA shall pass an order in Form 4 stating that the taxpayer has paid the full and final amount. जो Form 4 की डिक्लेरेशन की डेट है उसको यहाँ मेंशन नहीं किया गया है. Now, search assessment. Kindly clarify which assessment shall be considered to have been made on the basis of the search initiated under Section 132A. Assessment framed under 153A or C are clearly made on the basis of search initiated, therefore they are not eligible for the scheme. For other cases where assessments have been made under Section 143, 3, 44, 47, following three sets of cases shall be considered as cases where assessments have been made on the basis of search initiated. These cases are where search is initiated under 132 or books of accounts, other documents or any assets are requisitions under Section 132A on or after 1st day of April 21 in case of an SSC, an assessment have been made consequently. यानी जो 1st अप्रैल 2021 के बाद जो 147 और 153 132 का जो मर्जर हुआ था उसके बेसिस पे अगर सर्च इनिशिएट हुई है, where AO has drawn satisfaction with the prior approval of the PCIT or commissioner that any money, bullion, jewelry or other valuable article thing seized or requisition under the 132 or section 132A in case of any other person on or after 1st April 21 belong to the SSC and assessments have been made on consequently. Third case, where AO has drawn satisfaction with the prior approval of the principal commissioner or commissioner that any books of accounts or documents seized or requisition under section 132A in case of any person on or after 1st day of April 21 pertains to or pertain to or any information content therein related to SSC and assessment have been made consequently. So in cases के बेसिस पे अगर आपका रीओपन हुआ है या असेसमेंट हुआ है तो उसको सर्च के बेसिस पे असेसमेंट माना जाएगा और वो केसेस इस स्कीम के लिए एलिजिबल नहीं है. Then rollback years for the APA. A taxpayer is evaluating to close a few years in DT-VSB scheme out of 4 rollback years. Whether advance pricing agreement can be pursued for the remaining years of the 4 rollback years. As per CBTT Circular 15/2015 dated 10th of June, the applicant does not have the option to choose the years for which it wants to apply for the rollback. The applicant has to either apply for all the 4 years and not apply at all. However, if the covered international transaction did not exist in a rollback year or there is some disqualification in a rollback year, then the applicant can apply for rollback for less than 4 years. Thus, in certain exceptions, the rollback period could be less than 4 years. On the same analogy, if few years are settled in the scheme, the rollback can be applied for the remaining years. This provision is applicable to transfer pricing disputes. Appeal disposed of. Next question है. Suppose a taxpayer is eligible to apply for the scheme as his appeal is pending as on 22nd of July, but subsequently before the taxpayer could file the declaration under the scheme, his appeal has been disposed of. Can such a taxpayer still file the declaration? Now this is interesting question. टैक्सपेयर को अपील फाइल करनी थी बट उसके पहले ही जो अपील फाइल उन्होंने की थी उसको डिस्पोज हो गई है, तो अब वो क्या करेंगे, वो एलिजिबल है कि नहीं है. द DT-VSB scheme is a scheme for settlement of the tax disputes where a decision has been given prior to the taxpayer filing a declaration. There is no dispute pending unless the taxpayer or department again prefers an appeal. Therefore, where an appeal is pending but is not pending as on date of making declaration, such cases shall not be eligible. However, in a case where taxpayer filed declaration under section 90 of the scheme and intimates the same to the appellant authority, the concerned appeal authority may consider not disposing the appellant of the taxpayer. Time limit to file an appeal not expired on 22nd of July. कुछ असेसमेंट हो चुके हैं और अपील पेंडिंग करनी, जो फाइल करनी है वो पेंडिंग है, तो क्या करें उस केस में. Extent provision of the scheme does not cover cases where taxpayer would have received orders but the time limit to file a special SLP had not expired. Is there any possibility that such cases can be covered in scheme? As per section 89, it is clear that the appeal has to be pending for the appellant to eligible for the scheme. The definition of the appellant also cover cases where DRP has issued directions but AO has not completed the assessment. Therefore, the scheme does not provide for eligibility for those cases where an appeal is pending except for the DRP cases referred above. मतलब आपको एक कोई भी अपीलेट अथॉरिटी के बिफोर आपकी अपील पेंडिंग होनी चाहिए. आपने अगर कोई अपील फाइल की नहीं है और टाइम लिमिट भी लैप्स नहीं हुआ है तो ये वो केसेस भी एलिजिबल नहीं है. Can a taxpayer settle penalty appeal while continuing to litigate the associated quantum appeal? Further, it is provided that the disputed penalty is such penalty which is not levied or leviable in respect of disputed income or disputed tax. Thus, it would not be possible for the applicant to apply for the settlement of penalty appeal only when the appeal on disputed tax related to such penalty is still pending. If both quantum appeal covering disputed tax and appeal against penalty levied on such disputed tax for assessment are pending, the declarant is required to file declaration form giving details of both the disputed tax and penalty. However, he would be required to pay relevant percentage of disputed tax only. Obviously, disputed tax pay करेंगे तो जो appeal है उसमें तो उसको immunity मिलने वाली है. सो अगर आपकी दोनों अपील पेंडिंग है क्वांटम एडिशन की और पेनल्टी की, तो क्वांटम एडिशन और पेनल्टी दोनों की अपील जो वीएसबी है उसके लिए फाइल कर सकते हैं. अकेले पेनल्टी के लिए आप VSV नहीं कर सकते। देन है प्रोटेक्टिव एंड सब्सटेंटिव एडिशंस। Is there any substantive addition as well as protective addition in case of the some SSC for different assessment year? How will that be covered? Similarly, if there is substantive addition in case of one SSC and protective addition on some issue in case of another SSC, how will that be covered under the VSV? So for that matter, when substantive as well as protective additions have been made, whether in case of same taxpayer for different assessment years or in hands of the different taxpayer, then either of the two addition, that is substantive or protective, can be settled if the substantive addition is eligible for the settlement under the scheme. On the settlement of the dispute related to substantive or protective addition, EO shall pass rectification order deleting the protective or the substantive addition as case may be relating to the same issue in case of the same taxpayer or in case of the another taxpayer. यानी जो substantive addition है उसके लिए आप VSV कर सकते हैं. Dispute relating to the other direct taxes are dispute relating to the VAT tax, security transaction tax, commodity transaction tax and equalization levy covered? No. Only dispute relating to the income taxes are covered. Request for the withdrawal of appeal made. If a taxpayer has requested for withdrawal appeal under section 91 of the scheme and the appeal is not yet allowed to be withdrawn, how will the taxpayer furnish the proof of withdrawal in such cases? Where an SSC has made request for the withdrawal and such request is under process, proof of request made shall be enclosed. Next question है interest waiver application. With respect to interest under section 234A, B and C, there is no appeal, but the SSC has filed waiver application before the competent authority which is pending. Will such cases covered under scheme? A taxpayer who has filed waiver application is not appellant. Obviously, ये कोई appeal नहीं है. Therefore, such cases are not covered. Enhancement notice. If JCIT, CIT appeal has given an enhancement notice, can the appellant avail the VSV scheme after including proposed enhanced income in the total assessed income? Yes, when an appeal is pending before JCIT, CIT, the disputed tax is amount that is payable if the appellant by the appellant if such appeal was to be decided against the appellant. This is as per the definition of disputed tax. Hence, when JCIT, CIT has given enhancement notice, the taxpayer can avail the scheme after including the proposed enhanced income in total assessed income. Appropriate calculation of the disputed tax is accordingly provided in the schedules of the Form 1. Refund issues. Whether taxpayers can settle appeals under the scheme using the refunds they are expecting from the department. The declarant shall pay the amount determined under section within a period of 15 days of the date of receipt of the certificate and intimate the details of such payments to the designated authority in prescribed form, and then authority shall pass the order. There is no provision in the scheme allowing the payment of the amount declared एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ रिफंड एक्सेप्ट फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट. ऑब्वियसली जो रिफंड है वो कोई एडजस्ट नहीं हो सकता. आपको जो अमाउंट है वो अपने आप बैंक अकाउंट में से पे करनी रहेगी. If taxes are paid after availing the benefits of the scheme and the later taxpayer decides to take refund of this taxes paid, would it be possible? No. Obviously, any amount paid in pursuance of declaration shall not be refundable in any circumstances. Then TDS related issues. Will delay deposit of TDS, TCS shall be covered under the scheme. The disputed tax includes tax related to the TDS or TCS which are disputed and pending appeal. However, if there is no disputed related to the TDS or TCS and there is a delay in depositing such TDS, TCS, then the dispute pending in appeal related to interest levied due to such delay will be covered under the scheme. Where SSC settles TDS appeal against orders under section 201, as deductor of the TDS, will credit of such tax to be allowed to a deductee? Yes, however, the credit will be allowed as on date of the settlement of the dispute by the deductor, and hence the interest as applicable to deductee shall apply. When SSC settles his own appeal, will consequential relief available to the deductor and default from the liability determined under section under TDS order section 201? Yes, in such a cases, deductor in default would not be required to pay corresponding TDS amount. However, he would be required to pay interest under subsection 1A of the section 201. If such levy of interest qualifies for the scheme, then deductor in default can settle his disputed interest by filing a relevant schedule of the disputed interest. Then consequential relief under section 40AI IA, where SSC settles TDS liability as deductor of TDS, that is against orders under section 201. When will he get consequential relief of expenditure allowance under proviso 2 एक्ट जो 30% डिसअलाउ या 100% डिसअलाउ होता है in case of non-precedence payment. In such cases, the deductor shall be entitled to get the consequential relief of allowable expenditure in the year in which the tax was required to be deducted if the disallowance under section is in respect to same issue on which order under section 201 has been issued. However, if the SSC has already claimed reduction of the same amount under section 40 AIA in subsequent year on account of recovery of TDS in subsequent year, he shall not be entitled to consequential relief. In case in the order under section 133.3, there are other issues as well. The appellant wants to settle the dispute with respect to the order under 143.3 of the Act as well. Then the disallowance under section 40 IA relating to the issue on which he has already settled liability under section 201 would be ignored for calculating disputed tax, obviously. Then a trust has been denied registration. Whether appeal against such is eligible for the scheme? No, obviously no. यहाँ कोई disputed नहीं, tax की issue नहीं है. Two appeals for one EY in respect of the same order, where there are two appeals filed for an EY in respect of the same order, one by the appellant and one by the tax department. Whether the appellant can opt for only one appeal, how would be the disputed tax computed in such cases? Yes, the applicant has an option to opt for settling appeal filed by him or appeal filed by the department or both. This has to be specified in declaration to be made in Form 1. Also refer to the proviso to Rule 4 of the scheme, where the appellant and the income tax authority have both filed an appeal or petition or special leave petition of the same order. Single Form 1 shall be filed by the appellant. Return 148, 148A. If it has been filed against 148, 148 and no assessment order has been passed consequent to the notice, whether such cases are eligible, the income in such cases yet to be determined. Therefore, the disputed tax is not ascertainable and thus taxpayer would not be eligible for the scheme. Appeal before HCSC yet to be admitted. If appeal is filed before the High Court or Supreme Court and is pending for the admission as on 22nd of July, whether it is eligible for the scheme? Yes. Cross objections and miscellaneous application. Whether cross objections filed by and pending will be covered? Yes. NMA. MA is not an appeal, therefore it is not pending appeal. Assessment order stayed by the SC or SC. Whether the scheme can be availed in a case where enforceability of an assessment order passed by EO has been stayed by the High Court or Supreme Court? No. A quantum appeal pending can be settled under the scheme where an assessment order has been stayed. It does not then amount to an appeal pending as on date. Then what are the other issues? The assessment order under section 143 was passed in case of an SSC for an AY. The said assessment order is pending with the ITAT. Subsequently, another order under section 147, 143.3 was passed for the same assessment year and that is pending with the CIT appeal. Could both or one of the orders settle under the scheme? The appellant in this case has an option to settle either of the two appeals or both appeals of this year. The declaration shall be filed separately in respect of each order. Therefore, if a taxpayer decides to settle both appeals, then he has to file two separate declarations because there are two disputes pending before the two separate authorities. There is a provision for the 50% concession in appeal pending in HC on an issue where SSC has got relief on same issue from the Supreme Court. If the appellant has got decision in his favor from the Supreme Court on the same issue, there is a dispute now with regard to that issue and he need not to settle that issue. If the issue is part of the multiple issue, the disputed tax may be calculated on other issues considering the nil tax on this issue. Addition was made under section 143 on two issues where appeal is filed only for the one addition, whether the interest or penalty be waived for the both addition. Under the scheme, interest and penalty will be waived only in respect of the issue which is disputed in appeal and for which declaration is filed. Hence, for the undisputed tax, the tax and interest and penalty shall be payable. That is obvious thing. Once declaration is filed and for the financial difficulties payment is not made accordingly, what will be declaration null and void? Yes, you need to pay, otherwise it will be declared as null and void as if declaration has not been made. Where the immunity from prosecution is only for the declaration or for the director of the company or partner of the firm with respect to the dispute settled. If dispute has been settled under scheme, the immunity from the prosecution with respect to the dispute shall also extend to the director or partner of the company or firm being declarant in respect of the same dispute under section 278B. So friends, review today has quite clarified some of the vitals or essential issues covered in this scheme. अगर आपको कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो आप नीचे कमेंट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हो. Thanks for watching this video. Have a good day.